These hands are bleeding. 4 a.m. on a Michigan farm. He's 12, and he just made a decision that will create a $156 billion empire and put half the cars on Earth under his name. But right now, nobody believes in him. Not his siblings, not his neighbors, not his father. This is Henry Ford, and what they taught you in school is sanitized garbage. The real story is messier, more brutal, and so much better. The watch that changed everything. 1875, Henry's 12th birthday. His father hands him a pocket watch. Most kids say thanks and go play. Henry disappears into the barn, returns 3 hours later with the watch in 50 microscopic pieces. His mother is furious. His father's ready to disown him. Then Henry picks up each tiny gear, each spring, each screw, and in 12 minutes flat assembles it perfectly. It ticks. And his father realizes, this boy is not a farmer. This boy is something else, something that terrifies him. For 4 years, Henry becomes the neighborhood watch repairman. But watches are just practice. Because he's obsessed with a bigger question. If you can make a watch with perfect interchangeable parts, why can't you make everything that way? The engine that ignited a dream. 1876. School trip outside Detroit. The other kids are bored. Then Henry sees it, a steam engine moving on the road under its own power, belching smoke like a mechanical dragon. 70 years later, as one of the richest men in history, he'd say, I remember that engine as though I had seen it only yesterday. That night, he doesn't sleep, starts sketching. By 15, he's built his first steam engine from scrap. It works. His father knows he's losing his son. The loss that broke him. March 29, 1876. Henry's holding his mother's hand. Mary Ford is dying. Childbirth complications. No hospital, no doctor, just agony. She's 37. In her final moments, she whispers, Henry, you're special. Don't let them make you ordinary. Then she's gone. Years later, Henry writes, the house was like a watch without a mainspring. A mechanical genius describing the most devastating loss of his life in terms of gears and springs. That's who Henry Ford is. After she dies, the farm becomes a graveyard. Every field reminds him of her. He's suffocating, dying slowly, being buried alive in dirt and obligation. The escape. December 1st, 1879. Henry's 16. 4 a.m. Everyone's asleep. He packs one bag, leaves a note, and walks 8 miles to Detroit with $1.37 in his pocket. Here's the context. America's in the worst economic depression in history. Factories closing, people starving, unemployment catastrophic. And this farm boy with zero experience thinks he'll become a machinist. Day 1, rejected. Too young. Day 7, still nothing. Sleeping in alleys, eating garbage. Day 21, on the verge of giving up. Then James Flower gives him a chance. $2.50 a week for 72-hour weeks. Henry takes it immediately. But here's the genius. At night, he gets a second job repairing watches. $3 a week, 6 hours a night. This kid is working 20-hour days. Why? Because Henry isn't working for money. He's working for knowledge, building his 10,000 hours. The woman who believed. New Year's Eve, 1885. Henry sees Clara Jane Bryant at a dance. For the first time in his machine-obsessed life, Henry Ford falls in love. 1891. They move to Detroit. Henry gets a job at Edison Illuminating Company. But then he reads about the gasoline engine, a German invention that's changing Europe. In America, nobody's heard of it. Henry becomes obsessed. Problem: it requires electricity, and he doesn't understand electrical systems. So what does this maniac do? Gets hired as a night engineer at Edison Illuminating. Why nights? Because when generators are running smoothly, there's nothing to do. He can study electrical systems for hours. He's turned a job into a free electrical engineering degree. 4-dimensional chess. The kitchen explosion. Christmas Eve, 1893. Clara's preparing dinner. Baby Edsel's asleep. Henry bursts through the door like a madman. In his hands, a gasoline engine. He's covered in grease, eyes wild. "Clara, it works! I need your help right now!" He clamps the engine to the kitchen sink, runs a wire to the light socket, pours gasoline, and tells his wife, on Christmas Eve with their infant upstairs, to drip fuel into the valve while he cranks the flywheel. The engine erupts, the kitchen shakes, dishes shatter, baby screaming, neighbors think it's an earthquake. Henry's laughing like a maniac. The engine runs 30 seconds, then dies. But Clara, covered in gasoline, broken dishes at her feet, baby crying, looks at her crazy husband and says, "Henry, you've got it. Keep going." Without Clara Bryant Ford, there is no Ford Motor Company. Period. Remember her name. The Midnight Drive. June 4th, 1896. 1:30 a.m. Torrential rain. Henry's quadricycle is ready, his third prototype. 5 years of work. Except there's one hilarious problem. The vehicle is 79 inches wide. The shed door is 72 inches. This genius forgot to measure the door. So, at 1:30 a.m. in a thunderstorm, Henry grabs an axe and starts demolishing his own brick wall. His neighbor runs outside. "Have you lost your mind?" Henry, drenched and manic. "I'm about to drive this thing. Want to come?" Picture it. Pouring rain, Henry on his quadricycle. Clara running alongside with an umbrella keeping the engine dry. The neighbor in his nightshirt following behind. Third crank, the engine roars. They drive down Grand River Avenue at 20 miles per hour for 30 glorious minutes. That drive changes everything. The failures they don't teach. But here's what they skip. Henry failed, catastrophically, twice. 1899, Detroit Automobile Company. 18 months, bankrupt, fired from his own company. Second company, the Henry Ford Company. Disputes erupt, he quits. That company becomes Cadillac. His greatest competitor was built on his discarded company. He's 40, failed twice, broke, humiliated. Most men would quit. Henry builds race cars, breaks speed records, becomes famous. The Revolution. June 16th, 1903. Third company, last chance. $28,000 from skeptical investors. Ford Motor Company. Henry declares, "I will build a motor car for the great multitude, so low in price that no man making a good salary will be unable to own one." They laugh. Poor people don't buy cars. But Henry visits a Chicago slaughterhouse, watches the disassembly line. A light bulb explodes. What if I reverse this for cars? October 1st, 1908. Model T launches at $850. 15,000 orders flood in overnight. But Henry's not done. He perfects the assembly line. Before Ford, 12 hours to build one car. After, 93 minutes. Price drops to $260 by 1924. Cars cheaper than horses. Problem: workers hate the repetitive assembly line. They're quitting in droves. January 5th, 1914. Henry doubles wages from $2.40 to $5 a day. Wall Street calls it economic crimes. But Henry understands. He's not just paying workers more. He's creating customers. Factory workers can now afford the cars they build. By 1916, half of all cars on Earth are Fords. By 1927, 15 million Model Ts sold. The farm boy put the world on wheels. The darkness. But now the truth. Henry wasn't a hero. In the 1920s, he publishes The Dearborn Independent, spreading vicious anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. Hitler calls Ford "my inspiration," hangs his portrait in his office. In 1938, Nazi Germany awards Ford their highest honor. He accepts it. The 1930s. Ford hires thugs to beat union organizers. May 26, 1937. The Battle of the Overpass. Brutal violence captured by photographers. Public outrage forces him to recognize unions. Visionary? Yes. Bigot? Absolutely.
You can learn from someone's innovations while rejecting their hatred. The truth matters more than the legend. The legacy. Today, 1.4 billion cars on Earth. Ford Motor Company worth $156 billion. But his real legacy is freedom. Road trips, commutes, weekend getaways. Suburbs, highways, drive-ins, all built on Ford's foundation. The lesson. Henry Ford failed twice before 40. Broke, humiliated, mocked. If you're 16 and scared, 25 and lost, 40 and starting over, you have time. Because success isn't about being first. It's about being relentless. About grabbing an axe at 1:30 a.m. and smashing through the wall in your way. About turning failure into knowledge. About working when nobody believes. About having someone who says, keep going when you want to quit. So what wall do you need to smash? What dream are people calling crazy? Drop it in the comments. If this story lit a fire in your chest, smash that subscribe button like Henry smashed that brick wall. Because the next world changer might be watching right now. They might be you. The future belongs to those who build it. See you in the next one.